Heyo everybody, Haku here with the usual seasonal update for what I'm going to be watching when I eventually get to it, the summer 2026 anime video. So as usual, I've gone through and watched like literally every single PV from every single show of the season and decided on things that I would give a chance to when I get here. So if you've been watching for a while, you know I'm really behind. I am still marathoning through 2023 stuff. I just finished my 28th anime from 2023 earlier today at lunch, and I was doing something a little bit different for 2026. In addition to just making a list of everything that I want to give a chance to, I picked 10 shows from winter that I watched week to week. And from spring, I picked 6 shows, 5 plus Yomi no Tsugai, which is continuing on into summer. I love Yomi no Tsugai, so we're continuing that. And for summer, I was thinking, okay, I'll pick either 4 or 9 shows. That way, when I'm done with summer, I'll be at 20 for the year or 25 for the year going into fall. But watching all of the PVs, there are so many shows. I think I have over 40 on this list maybe that I want to give a try to when I get around to summer 2026. However, pretty much all of them are just things that I'm like, oh yeah, I could give that a try. None of them captured me. None of them gripped me. None of them were things that I'm like, I cannot miss this. I need to watch this week to week. None of them did that for me. Not like spring, where spring it's like, Nippon Sangoku, I was like, I need to watch this week to week. Yomi no Tsugai, I need to watch it week to week. Witch Hat Atelier had, people who I like and whose opinions I respect on things really liked it, plus it looked gorgeous. I need to watch this week to week. I love Marriage Toxins manga. Gotta watch that week to week. Agents of the Four Seasons looks amazing, and I think whether or not it lived up to that is probably going to be dependent on, personal opinion, but that was another one that I'm like, I really need to watch this weekly, but nothing did that for me for summer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of leave it up to all of you to throw in some suggestions. Maybe I think doing a lesser amount of shows would be good so that I have time to bust through 2023 stuff and catch up some more. So with that aside, with that in mind, I think maybe if you all want me to watch any 4 of these on the week to week, let me know what your thoughts are, what your suggestions are, what your opinions are, and I'll maybe just do those 4. I'll maybe just pick 4 from the comments, but we'll see. Again, even if I don't end up doing a full 4, I guess I could just be satisfied with not really covering much of anything and, marathoning 2023 stuff some more. I'm very behind on doing reviews and talking about those. But as of recording this, I have done my reviews for everything that I watched in spring, aside from Marriage Toxin. I haven't done my review for that yet. And I think talking about things that I would be excited for going into the season, one of the ones I'm most excited for is Reiwa no Dara-san, because I've been loving the manga. I enjoy the manga so much, but I'm also pretty early on in the manga, so the anime might outpace me, but also it said it was going to release a Is This Alright in the Reiwa era version on Blu-ray in October, November, and presumably December in 3 parts. So I also might want to wait for that, because that's probably going to be an uncensored version. Questionable on what they're going to censor to begin with. I feel like the ecchi isn't that wild and out there, but it is both a ecchi comedy, slice of life kind of thing, but also a horror. And some of the horror, even, like I said, I'm pretty early on into the manga, so anybody thinking about checking that out, I guess, also that would be a warning to you all. Some of the kills, some of the gore has been pretty rough so far, so maybe that's what would be censored. Some of the horror elements and the gore would maybe be toned down, and the Blu-ray version would be more explicit with that. Maybe that's what it's talking about. But usually when you hear an uncensored version, you're thinking fan service. There's another show that I want to check out that's totally going to probably have an uncensored version, you would think. So You all leave me suggestions for what you think I should watch on the week to week, but also for this, you can take my suggestions since I watched every single PV. Of course, my own biases are going to take into play what I want to give a chance to, but if you don't want to sit through and watch all the PVs yourself, you can use this video as a suggestion to hear about some of these anime and maybe give them a chance yourself. So starting off on things at the very beginning, going through these, you can't see this one, but you'll be able to see the rest as I go through. My face cam's covering it a little bit. We have Tensei Shitara Slime Dataken Season 4, which I'll get to eventually. Have I done Season 3 already? I don't think I've done Season 3 yet. Again, I'm on whatever, Spring 2023. That's where I am as far as anime goes. But I will get to this when I get to it. The same with Mighty Mashita Irumakun Season 4. I'm currently watching Season 3 as part of 2023 stuff. So these two are things that I will get to eventually. We have Yomi no Tsugai, which I am watching. If you want to catch up to that, it's really, really good, by the same mangaka as Full Metal Alchemist, and I have really been enjoying it. It is just the type of anime, just the type of sort of, I don't even know if I'd 100% call it a shonen. I kind of would, but it's right up my alley. The type of anime that I tend to really like. Reminds me a lot of those, the big three, and a lot of the shonen that I would watch as a teen and stuff. Gives me those sorts of vibes, and I like it a lot. I really, really like Yumi no Tsugai. So we have another core coming for this. I will hopefully try to do a reaction to opening and ending 2. I might not be able to, but I'll try to if I can. Neko Toryu is about a dragon that was raised by cats, and it looks really, really good. Honestly, I would not mind checking this out on the week to week. I like the way this looks. I'm pretty excited for it. Again, I feel like marathoning would probably be the way to go, would probably be fun. Like a lot of these, because I'm kind of on them, I feel like I would probably enjoy a lot of them more marathoning them than watching week to week. So this, I think I'd have a lot of fun marathoning, but I also would not mind this on the week to week. Then we have Urakurai Kenja no Gakuin Muso, Nirome no Tensei, S-Rank Cheat Majutsu Boken Roku. And this one, I gotta try to remember some of these. So he's reincarnated, but in the same world after reaching the peak of magic. Why is it that I have this one marked to continue? I'm gonna need to revisit the PV here. Revisiting the PV. I have discovered why I decided to watch this. Okay, well, mystery solved. We figured it out. So I have at least 2 reasons that I wanted to give this anime a chance, and that one might be on the list to marathon when I get to it. Then next up, we have Digimon Beat Break, which is teal because I tend to use this marker for things that start and fall, so I can remember what year I want to classify things as. Things that start and fall but are more the following year. Like for Digimon Beat Break, when I get to it, I'm going to count it for 2026 because more of it is in 2026 than 2025, even though it started in 2025. So that's why it's marked that way. That's what I usually do. We have Kuroneko to Majo no Kyoshitsu. This is just something that I decided in spring I would give a chance to, but it's 2 cores. Black Torch is about a guy who fuses with a cat and fights demons, from what I can tell. It is a fun-looking shonen kind of vibe that I get from it. The vibes kind of remind me of what was the anime from Summer, Dead Account from Summer, where it's like, I mention always really liking those kind of lower level shonens. Like, while everybody was talking about the big 3 and loving the big 3, and so was I was also loving things like Katekyo Hitman Reborn, or Fairy Tail was still super popular, of course, but the kind of step down for most people shonen. Soul Eater, I loved all of that, and so something like this gives me those sorts of vibes, the step down shonen, beyond the super ultra popular ones, those kinds of vibes. Next is part 4 of Bleach Sennen Kessenhen, the Kashintan. So Bleach Thousand Year Blood War, part 4. And I will also, Bleach is one of my favorite anime of all time. I spent so much of my high school and college years on Bleach RP sites, but I am watching it as I go through the seasons, so I will get here when I get to covering 2026 stuff. I am saving the delicious morsel of Bleach for then, because then I get to marathon through it. I get to watch as much as I want when I want. I don't have to wait or anything, and I miss out on the week-to-week experience, but I think I'll still have fun marathoning. Then we have Boku no Hero Academia, I'm a Hero 2, which is going to be adapting a one-shot focusing on 88 years later. I did not read this, so I will watch it, I guess. It's going to be a streaming special, I guess. Not sure how long it will end up being, so I will just watch this when I get there. Clevitas 2, this was one, there are going to be a few here, not very many, but a few that are marked because in 2024 or 2025, I said, oh, I'll give a chance to this, and now we're already getting around to a season 2, but I haven't even gotten to season 1 yet. This is one of those. I haven't gotten to season 1 yet, but it was one of those where I thought I would give season 1 a try, so I will do the same for season 2. Then we have Dogelwang, which is going to be a manhwa adaptation. I think it's called Tomb Raider King, something like that in English, but it's based on a manhwa, and for me, I usually count, like, if I were to do a video ranking or discussing or talking about Chinese animation, I would count Chinese animation separately. Not that I'm saying, you know, it's weird. It's like, I'm not trying to say that this show is inherently inferior because it's Chinese. It's just that I'm saying it's not anime. Like, a lot of people get upset when you say that things aren't anime, but it's like, it's not. It's again Chinese animation, and I am going to give China the credit for when they do that. So I would kind of just rate it separately. The same way if I were to talk about Western animation, there are tons of Western animated shows that I really, really like. I mean, the big one everyone defaults to is going to be Avatar: The Last Airbender, but I also love Legend of Korra. And if I were to talk about or rate or rank Western animation or generally just overseas animation rather than anime, then I would rate them separately. Or if I just was ranking any animated thing, just throwing everything animated from any country together, then it would be something. So this one was questionable. The studio seems to be Korean, but I tried to do some research, and their website is kind of bare bones. All their social media, it's like they haven't really posted in like 3 years. So the studio is pretty quiet. But when it comes to the marketing for this show in particular, all of the marketing for this show basically is all in Japanese. So since they've been just marketing it in Japanese, then I am feeling like there's some, like I mentioned with Chinese animation, there's some that it's really questionable, like Link Click especially. Link Click has so much of the production side with Japan and everything that is, questionable whether you should count it as anime or Chinese animation. But for Dogelwang, again, so much of the marketing was in Japanese that, I'll just count it, give it a try. A lot of people seem to be pretty down on it. Here's the thing. I thought I was a hater. I thought I was always like, all manhwa looks the same. All manhwa is the same exact story. And there are just a few exceptions that are good here and there. But I was like, oh, this looks neat. I'll give this a try. But meanwhile, all the responses that I've seen to this have been negative. Every time I've seen somebody talking about this, they're just like, oh, it's just a solo leveling ripoff. It all looks the same. Okay, well, I thought I was the hater, but apparently my hate was not strong enough. We have next, Futsutsuka na akujo de wa gozaimasu ga, sugu choso, or torikaeden. And this is one of those sort of ancient China, but questionably maybe not China settings, whether they have to say it's real China or they have to say it's not really, it just looks like it. It's one of those sorts of settings about a sickly maiden who gets her body swapped with the villainess because the villainess wants to be loved and pampered. But now she's like, okay, I'm the villainess, but I have this healthy, able body and I get to live a life that I didn't get to live before. So we are going to follow these two characters, and I wonder, like, it seems like there's going to be drama. Like, the villainess isn't actually going to necessarily be the bad guy in the end, it feels like. It feels like both of them are going to have to go through their own drama after switching bodies, and I'm really interested in that because body swap as a concept on an episodic level is something that happens in Western animation, I would say, I guess, a bit more even than anime. But it's not something you typically see for like an entire show. So this is different in a way that gets me excited. We have Skeleton Knight, Gaikotsu Kishi-sama Tadaima Isekai e Odakake Chu. Second season. I watched and reviewed the first season for 2022, and because of that, I've seen the first season. I could watch this weekly if you want me to, but yeah, I don't know. I'm not in a rush to watch it weekly. When it came to, I did 50 anime from 2022 and ranked them. I think this was probably among the middling ranks. It was probably in the 20s or 30s. Yeah, maybe even in the 30s or 40s. It was just sort of a middling level anime, like a B tier, maybe even C tier kind of anime. More B tier from my memory. So, I could continue that. We have Grow Up Show Himawari no Circus-dan. It's set in the 1950s, which is interesting, though I think you don't really get that so much from the PV. I think it looks really good. I like cute girls doing cute things anime. And it was one of the few shows I had heard of before summer, going into summer, so I'm interested in it. I think it could be neat, but I'm also at a point where I would be like, if you suggest me to watch it weekly, I would totally be cool with that, but if not, I would totally be cool just waiting to marathon it later. It's not something that I watched the PVs and was like, oh, I need to watch this weekly. Next we have Hanaori-san wa tensei shite mo kenka ga shitai. Now, this one is about the hero that was reincarnated into a high school girl and the demon king who has been reincarnated and is now a teacher, and all of the things that they're going through with that drama. So it's a bit of a reverse isekai story that seems to be pretty interesting. This one was one that I was on the fence over whether I was going to give it a chance or not, but I was on the fence. But a lot of times I'm like, you know what, I'll give it a chance, and if I don't like episode 1, I don't really do the 3-episode rule sometimes, because 3 episodes, that's an hour and a half, man, that's a lot of time. So, like, sometimes I'll watch episode 1 and be like, okay, I give it a chance, but it's not for me. Next we have Honno no Tokyujo Dodge Danko, which is a dodgeball anime, but the character designs were so cartoony and silly and goofy. I thought it looked really unique, and I like that, so I kind of want to maybe give it a shot. It might just be sort of a lame kids anime, but it didn't really seem like that to me from the PV, so I'm kind of willing to give it a chance and see what it ends up being like. Next we have Ibite Konai Gibo Togishi, where it's a bit of a reverse Cinderella. She ends up with a stepmom and 2 stepsisters, but they're actually really nice to her and don't bully her and treat her terribly, even though she suspects that they will, and that is basically what we get into. And it's one of those things, there was even one anime that I decided not to watch, where I hear the concept and I'm like, oh, that's a really neat concept. Then I watch the PV and I'm like, okay, well, that didn't look the best, actually. It was kind of one of those where the concept sounds really neat. The PV was kind of a little mid, but this one girl in the red dress, I don't know, maybe kind of doing it for me a little. I was like, hold on, wait a second. There were a few shots with her that I'm like, maybe I can give it a chance. Maybe I can hear it out. So I'll give it a chance. I'll hear it out. The concept is interesting. Then we have Magie Lumiere Season 2. I read like the first chapter, a couple chapters of the manga maybe, and liked it. I said I wanted to give Season 1 a try, so I haven't gotten to Season 1 yet, but when I do, here's Season 2. Then we have, this is another one of those. Katainaka no San Kensei ni Naru. Another one where I said I wanted to watch Season 1, but I just haven't got to it yet. So once I watch Season 1, we can go to Season 2. Kimi ga Shinumare Koi wo Shitai. This was one of the better looking PVs. Again, it wasn't so good that I thought it was can't miss, but it was one of the better PVs to me. It has a very, I think a lot of people have said, a very Promised Neverland-ish vibe to it, and that's also kind of the vibe I get. But it's also girls' love, which I tend to like. I like romance in general, but, you know, I don't know. I used to always say I really, really like Yuri, I really like girls' love, but in recent years, it feels like we've been getting more girls' love, but it has been quality-wise more hit and miss. Like, it has, like, not all of them have been the strongest lately, it feels like. Then we have 100 Girlfriends Season 3, Kimi no Koto ga daisuki na 100 nin no kanojo 3rd season. This one I am going to in fall 2023. Once I get to fall anime, I will be starting Season 1, but also somebody really requested really nicely for me to cover the manga, so I kind of want to cover the manga because they asked so nicely, but I think it's like 300 chapters so far, isn't it? I think it's really long. So while I kind of want to cover the manga, I think the manga's pretty long. I'm a little intimidated by getting started. And if I do, I will need to start it before I start watching Season 1, so I don't know. I want to give it a chance because the person asked, but also I don't know. And also, I think I heard somebody say that they're only like 20 some girlfriends in. They're like, we're like 300 chapters in, but only 20 some girlfriends, so we're gonna need to be well over 1,000 in order to hit the pacing for all of the girlfriends. But again, I don't necessarily know what the context to that is. Kimi o Tsumugu, this was a gorgeous looking PV. This was a good looking PV. I think it's only going to be just a short, like an OVA or whatever. But it looked really neat. So I don't know how long it's going to actually be. I don't know that it's going to be full movie length or anything. But the PV looked really good for this, actually. Then we've got Koko wa ore ni makasete saki ni ike to itte kara 10 nen ga tattara densetsu ni natte ita. The title reminded me of what this was. The guy goes off and he's fighting the Demon King. No, everyone, go, save yourselves, I'll hold him off. And then he holds him off and ends up defeating him, but it takes 10 years, a 10-year battle that he was locked in, and he comes back and he's viewed as this hero who saved the hero's party. He's a hero of humanity. They've got statues of him and everything, but he doesn't really look the same anymore, so he just starts a new life as an adventurer. Instead of with his old life. I think that's a really, really interesting concept. The anime itself from the PV looked okay enough. Looked good enough. I think there was a cute cat girl or something. So, fair enough. Kore Kaite Shine is a mangaka writing series, and the PV I thought for this looked really good. It looks like it could be really emotional, could be really funny, could be artistic in a satisfying way, so I am interested in checking it out. Let's Go Kaikigumi seemed neat. It's like a little bit of a, family-friendly horror kind of vibe I got from it. I got similar vibes as I did to Kaya-chan wa Kawakunai. But Kaya-chan went a little far sometimes with its family-friendly horror. So this seems like a bit of a horror comedy kind of deal. I want to watch it for the girl with the Neferpitou eyes. For sure. Like, her design really caught me. But that's another one I kind of let, when I think of the PVs I liked most, Kimi o Tsumugu was a really, really good PV, but not necessarily must watch. I think Kimi ga Shinumare Koi o Shitai was one of the strongest PVs. I think Let's Go Kaikigumi, for me personally, was one of the ones that I felt most interested in. Black Torch, again, I just like that type of anime. Neko to Ryu, at first I was like, yeah, this looks fine to give a chance to, but now as I've sat with it, I'm like, the concept is so neat that I've kind of been thinking about watching Nekoto Ryu more and more, you know? I just think that's neat. We have finally another Madoka Magica movie. It's been forever. There's a bunch of characters I don't recognize in the PV, though. I have not watched Magia Record. Might need to watch Magia Record in order to fully understand things, so I might need to do that. Either way, I probably won't watch this when it first comes out. I will wait until I get to 2026, but maybe they'll have a Blu-ray release with a bunch of different animation for some reason. The fences will get fancier again. And then here's another one that, even though it says it's a winner of the kid/game category, this looked like one of the neatest PVs to me. Mebius Dust. I thought this PV looked really, really neat. It's kind of like a battle shonen, but also game battle shonen. It looked really neat. I liked the way this looked a lot, personally. I could totally watch Mebius Dust on the week-to-week. Then again, maybe I should wait to marathon it because we don't have a confirmation on how long it is. And if it is one of those sorts of kids animes, it could be like Digimon, where it's probably going to be like 50 episodes. So I don't know if it's going to be like 50 episodes. Next we have Mofusand, which is just here because I have been watching it. It started in winter and I've been watching it whenever they put out a new animated short. Again, they're just short, less than a minute animated shorts about cats doing things. They're cute. It's by the same studio as Kolpen, I think. I haven't watched the Kolpen shorts though. But yeah, they just put weekly shorts out on YouTube and they're really, really nice. So if you want just some chill shorts about animated cats, Mofusand's there. And I question, like, when I do rankings and stuff, it feels weird to review or compare this to like full TV shows or anything, but I'd love to give a shout out to things like Mofusand or Tsukareta Inu no Anime, which is an independent YouTube animator. He just is, for 200 plus episodes by now, just putting out like 3 to 4 minute anime every week on his YouTube channel. So I like that every week. Or stuff like Hologra, where technically Hologra isn't necessarily indie because it is Cover Corp, but they're just putting out Hololive animation every week basically on YouTube. I don't know necessarily how to fold those into a normal review or ranking structure, but I'd love to shout them out because I like them. Then we have Mushoku Tensei 3. I am going to be getting to Mushoku Tensei 2 soon for 2023, so I haven't gotten to 2 quite yet. Then we have Season 2 of The Elusive Samurai, Nige Jouzu no Wakagimi Season 2. I read the first 20-some or 30-some chapters of the manga, and I'll be real, I didn't like the manga, but I am willing to give the anime a chance, and maybe it'll change my mind because, you know, maybe I just wasn't vibing with it. Then we've got Niju Seiki Denki Mokuroku Eureka. This one looks really nice too. This seems like it's going to be another like Kimi ga Shinumare Koi o Shitai or World is Dancing that we'll get to. This is probably going to be one of those that breaks into the more, not necessarily mainstream, like the big pop shonen, but more of the stuff that reaction channels might cover, things that'll be a bit more on the popular side. This one gives me those kinds of vibes. It's going to be a little bit more popular. So, I'm willing to give it a shot weekly, but I'm also very willing to wait for it. It wasn't something where I was like, I need to watch this weekly. One Piece Heroines, I don't know how long this TV special is going to be. Maybe just an episode length or less. But wow, the animation in the PV looks gorgeous. That looks very, very nice. Looks so good. So I guess I'll watch it when I get to it. Again, I'm a big One Piece fan. Probably won't count it as a thing that I would watch week to week since it's just a special. Then there's Reiwa no Dara-san, or Reiwa no Dara-san, which I've talked about. I think that I am going to have a hard time not watching week to week, but also I need to catch up to enough of the manga. There will be episodes I can't watch until I've read the manga, because I'm doing reactions to the manga. So I'll have to wait for some of that. But I love the manga so much. And also, you could wait for the Blu-ray version, get the uncensored version. So I don't know. If I do watch week to week, I'll also probably rewatch when we get the uncensored version, because I am so obsessed with it. I love it so much. Then we've got Ryomin Zeronin, Start no Henkyo Ryoshi-sama. This one looked okay, but the girl is attractive. The main female character looks pretty good. I think the concept behind it's a fantasy. It's neat. Then you watch the PV and the PV looks all right. The main character design is fairly bland to me. But again, the female lead that you see the most, good design. I'll watch for her and, give it a chance. Then we have the second season of Seihantai na Kimi to Boku, and this should maybe be one of the ones that I take most into consideration for watching on the week to week, because I watched season 1 on the week to week in winter and I loved it. I think it was maybe my second or third favorite show. I haven't actually posted. I reviewed all 10 shows, or all 10 series, they weren't all shows, that I watched on the week to week in winter. I recorded all that as a video with all 10 of them together, but I haven't been able to get around to posting it. I probably listed this as maybe in my top 3 favorite shows of the season. It was very, very good. I didn't watch Ramparts of Ice week to week in spring though, which is by the same mangaka. And now that mangaka just got 3 adaptations back to back to back, with season 1 of this, then Ramparts of Ice, now season 2 of this, coming in really short succession here. So I am interested because I loved season 1, but honestly, as much as I'd love to watch it weekly again, I could wait just to focus more on 2023 stuff or to watch other things. I could wait. Again, I loved it, but it isn't can't miss for me necessarily. Next we have Tai Ari Deshita Ojo-sama wa Kakuto Game Nante Shinai. And it is a girl's love, a Yuri, about fighting games, or centered around fighting games. And I am interested and willing to give it a try, mostly off of the girl's love aspect and because the PV seemed pretty creative and funny. However, I don't really care about... I was about to have one hell of a controversial statement for some people, so I'll probably need to keep that to myself. I don't really care much about fighting games. What I was gonna say about fighting games. Oh gosh, I don't care that much for fighting games, but I'm willing to give this a shot, give it a chance, check it out. Tenko Saki no Seiso Karen wa Bishoujo ga mukashi danshi to omotte issho ni asonda osanajimi datta ken. This one is about a guy who, thought that his childhood friend was another guy, and then they meet again, what does it say, 7 years later? And turns out he was a girl the whole time. So he is like, okay, you were my best childhood friend, but I never knew you were a girl this entire time. The characters look really, really cute though, so I want to give it a chance. It doesn't seem like the most dramatic or anything, but The characters are really cute, so I want to give it a chance. Next, we have Tenmaku no Jadugar, which is, you know, a witch in Mongolia. It starts out in Iran, though, so I'm interested in the historical aspect. I really tend to like historical anime. Then again, I don't know. There have been a lot of historical anime that aren't the best, but I like historical settings in general for games, anime, anything. I like those kinds of settings. The style is reminiscent of Osama Ranking, which I love. I adore Osama Ranking, and the style is similar, but this to me from the PV didn't catch me as much as I thought it would. I was expecting, just knowing what I know about this going into the PV, I was expecting to love this and this to be an easy contestant for my anime of the season. But then I actually watched the PVs and I was like, okay, those were all right. It didn't win me over as much as I thought it would from the PVs. Then we have Tomei na yoru ni kakeru kimi to me ni mienai koi wo shita. And this one is about a guy who I think just doesn't really think much of himself, gives up on things, just trying to remember from the PV. But he meets this blind girl, and through becoming friends with her, and of course it's gonna turn into romance and stuff, but he sees the way that it's like, okay, she has a disability, but she puts herself out there, she has these dreams that she's following, she has all these sorts of things. Meanwhile, I'm just a loser, I'm just a guy, I've got no sort of disability or anything to potentially hold me back like other people have, and these other people are out there living their lives to the fullest, and so it is something that is going to impress upon him as a character for self-improvement. So it's not only a romance, but seemingly one of those sorts of self-improvement sort of anime. So I am very interested to see where that concept goes. I think that could be neat. Next we have this is a Gohan's one. Tsuiho sareta tensei jukishi wa game chishiki de muso suru. The Gohan's art style you will always get slapped with. It looks pretty neat though. I am willing to give it a chance. Some of the shots in the PV looked amazing, some looked not so great, but I think that level of experimentation and that level of, hey, we're gonna do something coming from Gohan's, it's neat. So I'm, once again, very much willing to give it a try and see how I like it. Next we have one that I'm really excited for, but I may find it smarter to wait for I think it might be better to wait for an uncensored version for this, because this is probably going to have an uncensored version. You would think it will have an uncensored version. It's Ushiro no Shomen Kamui-san, and it seems to be about an exorcist who exorcises the ghosts via plappage, or at least that's the way the PV was leaning. He at least has very sexual. He's trying to exorcise all of the spirits via seduction, and it looked so funny. I think that's such a funny premise. I really think that this could be really fun. But again, it might be something where it'd be smart to wait for an uncensored version. This says sub un-ed. I don't know what all of that means. So I don't know about, like, maybe it'll be uncensored right from the start, or at least there'll be both a censored and uncensored version right from the start. I guess if it's streaming and not TV anime, it would depend. But yeah, I might wait for an uncensored version of that. And then we have World is Dancing, which I think is the, other than Bleach, I guess, obviously, Jadogar also looks like it'll be quite popular. Eureka, maybe. Kimigashi no Mare Koi o Shitai. Some of these look like they could be pretty popular, but World is Dancing is the one I heard the most about coming into the season. The one that seems like it's going to be, again, other than like Bleach, the most popular. It's by Cypic, which I think is the new Cygames rebranding. Cygames, for me personally, has a really good, like with Jadugar, Science Saru lately for a ton of people has a very good reputation lately. It's one of those things where Mappa was great, and there was a time in the late 2010s when people were just gushing over like Wit and Madhouse, and they were the go-to ones for people to just glaze and gush over. And then it kind of became Mappa, where that's the one that people would just really, really glaze and go crazy over. Lately, Science Saru has built up that kind of reputation as well. But for me, Cygames, their anime for years and years to me have been hitting. Like, not all of them are the best thing I've ever watched, but I don't think I've watched one that I thought was like really low quality. Like, everything has at least a solid 8 out of 10 plus standard generally. So this looks great from the PVs. It looks really great. Did it look so great that I would get FOMO from not watching weekly? Not really. I do think it looks great though. So whether I watch weekly or whether I marathon, I think I would really, really like this one. And then lastly, we have Yojo Senki 2. I watched season 1 way back when. Please don't watch my old reviews. I reviewed it week to week, but I really don't feel like I got it. I really don't feel... I'm so stupid. I'm so dumb. I feel like my reviews were probably awful for season 1, but I've since rewatched it once or twice since then. I haven't watched the movies, though. There's at least one movie, so I would have to watch that before I watch season 2. I don't remember when the movie was, if that's something I'm going to need to get to. Let me check. Movie was 2019. Okay, I will have to watch... If you want me to. Do you want me to watch the movie and then watch season 2 of this weekly? I could, I guess. I could. Since I watched season 1 weekly, I could do that. But either way, I guess that's the list. Any recommendations you have for me, let me know. But hopefully this was able to serve as an entertaining rundown of the season and recommendations for all of you if you saw anything or heard about anything that you think you would like. So what I would like to do is I'd love to show myself reacting to all of the PVs for everything, or sharing these PVs here with you as I'm going through the list. But I tried to do that once, and YouTube beat my ass with copyright. So I am sorry that it's just me going over the season talking with you all, and I'm not really showing the PVs themselves. But the one time I tried that, I got my ass beat. So sadly, that is not in the cards. But either way, it looks like a solid season. Like I said, there's over 40 shows that I am terrible at holding myself back. So I'm like, oh, I can give that a chance. I can give that a try. There are a lot. But despite the fact that there are so many, none of them are must watch. For me personally, none of them from the PVs were like, oh my gosh, I can't miss out on this. So that's where I am with it all. So let me know your suggestions. Again, I might just take 4 suggestions from you to watch for week to week, or I might even not watch any week to week and just watch 9 in the fall, because fall is looking pretty good. I could just watch 9 in the fall. Like, let me glance at fall really quick. Look at some of this. Like, Awashi's not really my thing, but you're going to get season 2 of that. You're going to get Blue Box season 2. You're going to get Black Clover coming back. It's so funny calling it season 2 after how long, I guess, what counts as season 1 was. But you're getting a lot. Like, if you like Cardfight Vanguard, you're getting more. If you like Bang Dream, you're getting more. If you like Cyberpunk, there's going to be another Cyberpunk Edge Runners. Then you get more Girls in Panzer, more Dragon Ball Super, because, well, I mean, I guess it is more, but it's just a redo of the Beerus arc or whatever. But another season of Hotel Inhumans, another, I don't know what this is going to be, spinoff maybe for Kaiju number 8. So you're getting a lot more of all of this different stuff. More Kusuria no Hitorigoto. We're starting season 3 there. We get more Maiden Abyss. Then Minky Momo is, I'm literally watching the 80s Minky Momo right now. So that's exciting that there's going to be more. There's going to be another core for Luluto Lily. Maho Shoujo Ikse Keikaku Restart is my favorite light novel of all time. So I cannot wait for this anime. It's my favorite light novel of all time. I hope the adaptation's good. We've been waiting forever for it. Then you have like more Precure. More Sasaki to Pichan, more Rama 1/2. It's already at the 3rd season for the remake? Jeez. I didn't know it was already at the 3rd season. I think this is the finale, isn't it? For Bunny Girl Senpai. So maybe the finale for that. You get the Sekiro anime, like you have Tank Chair, which I've heard a lot of people talking about. Another season of The Detective's Already Dead. This Goblin show looks cute to me. I think I've seen a little bit of that already. I love Tensei Shitara Kendeshita Season 1. I reviewed it as part of the 2022 anime, so we're getting another season of that. Tawaru is one of my favorite franchises. We're getting another Tawaru anime. More Togenanki, more Tokyo Revengers. That's continuing on from summer. And then more Yozakura family, season 2 of that. Zombie Sagashitemasu is by a mangaka that I really, really like. And who knows of all these others that I haven't heard of and haven't seen the PVs. Some of those PVs could come out of nowhere like Nippon Sangoku and be incredible. And Nippon Sangoku for me last season was probably anime of the season, that or Akane Banashi. So fall is looking incredibly stacked. Extremely stacked. So if I hold off and don't watch much for summer, I could still watch a bunch for fall and then be ending the year having seen a bunch. But still, I will need to be focusing on 2023, moving through 2024 and 2025. Oh gosh, it's a mess. I have so much to watch. But either way, I guess I'll end things here. Thank you for being here and watching and all of that. Let me move to this. Like, comment, subscribe, anything you want. Like, subscribe for more anime, much more on the channel. There's a bunch of manhwa and manga videos, plus a ton of anime reviews coming. I'm 28 anime deep into 2023 that I need to review. I still have the winter reviews that I need to do that I didn't post. So there's a ton coming if you're interested in anime and manga stuff. So subscribe, like, and comment if you want, whatever you want. Again, leave suggestions. If you want to help support the channel by sharing around or dropping a super thanks, it's really appreciated. If you want to help support the channel by becoming a member or patron, hit join down below to become a member. Go to patreon.com/Haku of the Tubes, or link will be in the description to become a patron. You get your name at the end of videos and One Piece bingo a bit early. There's One Piece bingo every week if you want to stick around, or at least every chapter. So thank you to people who are members and patrons. Thank you to chosen regulars Evan Holly and Bertie Wooster, Magical Girls Dee Ben and Maru, Cheriton Student David Langstaff, Slayer Candidates SG and Stan Cedar, and Pure Element Pater Dial. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.